Hi guys, my name's Tomo, and you're listening to F1 Online Decoded.
Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of F1 Online Decoded. Now, this week's guest needs no introduction. He is one of the most popular guys on F1 YouTube and burst onto the scene at the start of 2020 with his Red Bull versus Rich Energy video. I'm of course talking about TommoF1. Now, like I said earlier, Tommo is becoming a very popular figure in the world of F1 YouTube. He's done some brilliant collaborations with himself and of course some other very well-known guests. He's becoming a very popular guy in terms of interviews, and we thought it would be a very good idea to put him on the other end of the mic for a change to get to know more about him. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this brilliant conversation we had with TommoF1. First of all, Tommo, thank you so much for coming on, talking to us today on the other end of the mic for a change. You're normally the one talking to other people, kind of getting to know them. But today we're going to get to know you, maybe just a bit more for all your fans out there as well. So first of all, how are you doing? Are you okay? Coping well with with the lockdown and everything? What have you been doing to keep yourself entertained?
Oh, I'm all right, lads. It's nice to be self-indulgent for once and not just asking other people questions. So yeah, no, it's been obviously it's weird times. I mean, I've gone throughout this. I've gone through a furlough and then leaving a job and then starting a new job. Technically, I'm like freelancing at the moment, and obviously uploading as much as I can on my YouTube channel, which is in that furlough period I was uploading loads. So in terms of what I've been doing to keep myself busy, I mean that's been it really. Just working on the channel because again there ain't much else to do because like plenty of friends and family I know they haven't really got like it's a good outlay, and I'm sure you guys know as well, to have that as an outlay to put your time towards that is actually something for yourself is quite kind of fulfilling and satisfying. So yeah, that's been keeping me nice and busy.
Yes, it has as well. Yes, obviously you've been grinding out the content as well, and of course, like you said, getting starting a new job as well, or just getting on the lines of that as well. So it's just been YouTube really, obviously mostly for like most people who do what we do anyway. So starting off with now about Formula One, Formula One as a sport for yourself. Now, the difference with you have as our guest, like you've done Q&As before, so it was just a case of right, okay, what instead of asking the typical questions that you've been asked by fans, what can we do differently? So, like I said before we record, I was watching your 15k Q&A, bit of a tongue twister there. And you got a few questions about like how did you get into Formula One, and you were like, I don't really remember. I was single digits, and I just can't really remember. So, kind of what we changing the first question essentially. So, I'm gonna ask, what is your earliest Formula One memory? Like, think about like how like as far as back as you can. Maybe were you a certain play like there's a certain moment that you remember, like I don't know, like a Schumacher win or a Hamilton win, perhaps, or a big crash. Like, what is the
Yeah.
earliest you can kind of go back on and remember something in the world
So
of Formula One?
generally my recall from my earlier years. So like I'll speak to my mates about, they'll be like, do you remember at primary school when we did this and that? And I'm just like, what are you on about, man? I ain't got a clue. But in terms of Formula One, my earliest recall, I would say, is not a victory. It's not a specific race. It's a specific car. You know that early 2000s slash late turn of the century McLaren with the kind of West on the side, the one
Yeah.
that kind of Coulthard and Hakkinen. That specific car, that's just what immediately comes to mind for me. That is in terms of, so it must have been the Hakkinen Schumacher kind of, because that again, that's kind of the era I grew up in, them two battling. And yeah, in terms of, if I had to say anything, I could not for the life of you pick out a race, because like I've said before as well, like my love of motorsport didn't come from any friends or family or anything like that at all. My parents couldn't have been less interested. None of my mates were interested. Like, I have no idea where it came from, but I've just always loved cars. And I think that kind of progressed into motorsport because I think I always had like Hot Wheels when I was a kid. Obviously, Skeletric, obviously,
Legend,
banging toys back in the day. But yeah, maybe I reckon that's probably what more started it. Maybe my mum got me a Micro Machine. So I remember my Micro Machines. It was like a van, and you opened it up, and it had all the like. That's one of the earliest toys I can remember, and I swear I've still got it in the loft at my mum's. But yeah, in terms of like that earliest memory, I don't know. There's that car for me, and even I look at it like the design objectively. I don't know. It's not an amazing livery, but for me it just holds so much sentimental value. And yeah, if I had to say earliest F1 memory, it's got to be that car.
Yeah, it's got to be that car. Yeah, it's a strange story as well, like how you got into Formula One, because like you said before, you can't really remember, or like nobody really got you into Formula One. Because normally when we say how did you get into Formula One to our guests, they'll say, "Oh, I was watching it with my dad, my granddad, or my friend," and he was just like, "Nah, I just watched it, and yeah, I just kind of fell in love with it, really." So yeah, and yeah, obviously like the car, the West McLaren car, again, before my time as well. And I kind of hold the same relation to the 2010 McLaren MP425, which it's not the best looking car, but that for me it's a big like a car for me, because that was probably the first car I kind of fell in love with when I was getting into Formula One as well. So obviously, like nobody really got you into Formula One. You kind of fell into it. What really took your love from I like these cars to I can name every car, I can name every guy on the racetrack, I can name every circuit, I know the calendar off by heart. What year do you think that your love for Formula One went from I like playing with toy cars to boosh, I'm watching every race?
I mean, I think it was kind of probably heightened around my kind of teens, so like 13, 14, 15, that kind of age. I did definitely fall away from Formula One for a good few years. I think when I went to university, like that was, as many of us know have been, it's a very life-altering, changing experience for many reasons. But also you change a lot in yourself and your time and what you put your time towards and what your priorities are and all that. And I definitely fell away from the sport for a long time. And I'd say I kind of came back kind of beginning of 2017 into kind of it being front and centre. But in terms of, that kind of, again, Formula One is the, in terms of coverage, in terms of information that's available out there, like F1's just the sport you're going to gravitate towards if you don't have that exposure through family and friends and stuff like that. Because, again, it's the one that's on terrestrial, used to be on terrestrial TV back in the day, and you'd be able to pick up and watch. So I think it just came from there. And again, it's just kind of an outlet for me, I guess, being that the one who I was into this little thing on my own. None of my mates were into it. My parents just would just that's that racing car, because me and Johnny Herbert are from the same little town, and so my dad would always used to bang on about that. Wouldn't remotely interested in the actual racing. Just Johnny Herbert used to race back in the day. He's from Collier Road. It's just great, Dad. But I don't know, man. It's so difficult for me to, again, because I can't even ask anyone, because no one cared. my parents didn't give a damn at the time, and none of my mates were into it, so I can't really recall from them either. So it's hard to put that. Maybe that almost made the passion a bit more kind of, because it was my own thing. And obviously I loved racing games as well. I remember my first racing game on the PS1, because that was my first console, was Total Driving. Look at the graphics now, and it's that, I can't believe I managed to look at it. But obviously, at the time I was like, wow, this is amazing. And I think video games as well had a big part to play. And in terms of like indulging my knowledge, like I couldn't, I'll sit in a car. I'm just really into cars, and it definitely came from that, because I know a lot of people. I've been quite surprised actually. I've spoken to people, and I'll like ask them if I'm doing maybe my podcast, and I'll be like, "What's your favourite road car?" And they'll be like, "Oh, I'm not really that into cars." I'm like, "What? How can you be into motorsport but not into cars?" Because for me, it's so fundamentally connected. But that's always been a massive thing for me as well. So I think that's where it kind of stemmed from. But I'd say back to your original question before I paraphrase massively.
It's fine. Nope.
I'd say kind of teens. I'd say early teens was when that really kind of stepped up, and I started to get the old knowledge in back in the day.
well, luckily for you, obviously you got back into Formula One, and now look at where you are now. Not bad.
It's done all right. It's been all right. It's been a bit of a weird one though. I mean, I'm like, it's not been long as you guys know. Like literally, the start of this year was when things kicked up. Well, 20. I can literally pin 26th of December was the day that my Rich Energy Red Bull video took off, and it's that's been it. From there on, it's just snowballed.
Well, talking about the Rich Energy video, of course, that is on YouTube, and that's what we're going to move on to next. Of course, what you're into, we are, and of course, what everyone is listening to this interview on. So, Tom, you on your TommoF1 channel, you have some great videos there. I mean, some incredible, especially interviews as well. You've basically decoded many of the WTF1 guys, from Tommy to Matt to Jess. You've had some great YouTubers on there, including Aldas and Crazy Yankee. So in terms of...
Everyone calls him Crazy Yankee. You're not the first, but it's Cranky.
Cranky.
It's Yankee. Frankie. That's clever. Oh, wow. Well, there we go. We didn't even have to have him on to find out his real name. You've made some amazing videos. And there's no secret that, of course, you know your stuff and you've had experience in, before you came onto YouTube. But what was the inspiration behind TommoF1, the YouTube channel, and also just, what's it been like since, you started? And of course, talk a little bit about maybe the Rich Energy video, blowing up, getting you this kind of exposure, working with other people as well. And by the way, we don't expect you, we don't want you to as well to say us. If you say us, we're not gonna be happy in terms of, we were the inspiration. But everyone else, all the other collaborations that you've done, as I say, so like the WTF1 guys and stuff, what's it been like working with them? What was your... Well, firstly, start off, what was your inspiration to get onto YouTube and create TommoF1?
Yeah, my kind of background in videos, because again, I've mentioned that I've been making videos for a long time, but it was very much within kind of football. Avid West Ham, ever suffering West Ham fan, which we were talking about before. I know you Geordies know the suffering.
We do.
And yeah, I was a kind of season ticket holder at West Ham, and I used to consume a lot of football content, and I just decided, to be honest, when I first decided to make videos, it was actually because, speaking in front of camera, speaking to people, speaking in front of kind of like big groups of people was always something I really struggled with, but something I really wanted to get better at. And without a doubt, like that was definitely one of the resounding reasons that I decided to start in the first place. So I started that back in, I probably properly started that in about 2016, doing football stuff. Again, it was absolute rubbish at the start, obviously, like everyone's content is at the very beginning, and that kind of evolved. Obviously, my job has been over all those years has been kind of working in kind of graphic design, done a bit of photography, done a bit of I'm big into the kind of the tech in terms of like video and like I love all that kind of stuff, so that's also kind of helped me grow that kind of quality, because I know a lot of people kind of compliment the quality of my stuff, which again is I think a big part of why my stuff's done well, purely because of the equipment. But again, that equipment is all stuff that I've used for my work anyway, so it's not like I've had to justify spending all that money on all this like nice camera, tripod, all that kind of stuff, without there being some kind of financial benefit to me, because you don't earn good money from YouTube. It takes, as you guys know, you like, and even like obviously I've just got over 40,000, and still like the money is nowhere near enough to live on. Yeah, absolutely nowhere near enough. And that's the thing. It's a mug's game if you're looking to earn money from it. But yeah, so in terms of that kind of stuff, and I had a few videos that did well in the football realm. Anyone who follows Arsenal Fan TV and knows Troops, I did a video with him after Arsenal spanked us 5-1 during the first year at our Fishbowl Stadium, and we did a little vlog, and it was actually like, it was a really good video. He was a really nice guy, and that I did some videos through a company called 90 Min, who are like a media football company.
You
might see them a lot on like Facebook. They're really big, and they kind of. So I used to do the West Ham vlogs. I used to go to the game and have the camera to my face, which I would like. There's a place for that content. I wouldn't really do that now. It's not really my cup of tea anymore. But
What channel was this on? Was this your own YouTube channel? Or was this like West Ham TV?
So this was on. So I made the videos on my channel, and then 90 Minute contacted me and were like, we want to do this. It was called Fan Voice, and they had different fans from all the different clubs who would go to each game, vlog the game, and then upload the footage, give that to 90min, and then 90min would cut it all together, edit it, and put it out that same evening. Because with football, timely content is like so important, and that's what I've tried to steer away from in F1 because it's just stress trying to get stuff out quick. So that's why I never kind of cover the news and breaking news and stuff like that, because that content is so important to get it out quickly. That is going to have such a big kind of effect on the views. So that was kind of what I was doing, and then that kind of started to fade away as my kind of passion for that. I don't know, it just started to wane. Didn't help with it that our owners are twats, and it was just kind of, I was losing a bit of love for it, but I knew I still wanted to make video. So I started this channel in August last year. I also rebranded my old channel. I was basically like, I'm either going to do Formula One stuff because I'm super like back into Formula One now. I know I love this. I know this is like a deep set love for like motorsport that I've always had. I haven't always been able to indulge in it as much as I'd like. And then I rebranded the other channel to be more of a like design focused channel because I like making videos, and I've got lots of other passions in life, and design has been a big part of that. I got into that from a purely kind of like self-taught point of view, and obviously I was uploading on both channels, and then things just to be honest, I actually got to the stage beginning of December where I'd decided, I was like, this F1 stuff isn't taking off. Like, I'm getting no views. I was on like I was on like single digit subscribers, and the views were just so dead. And I knew I'd made a couple of videos that I was like, they are good videos. And if they were like, because again, I've been doing it for long enough, and I know which stuff, the timely stuff was never going to pop, but you had my brand coverage on Rocket, and you had my Rich Energy Red Bull video. And I knew they were good videos, but I wasn't getting any views, and I was just like, nah, I can't be arsed with it. I'm done with it. So I moved back to doing the design stuff. So I uploaded, I can't even remember the most recent video I uploaded on that. It might have even been beginning of January. And then I remember like I was looking. So basically on the 26th, views started rolling in on the Rich Energy Red Bull video. But I didn't actually notice until about 3 days later, just because I just randomly checked that email account that I'd set up, because you have to have a different email for every YouTube account you have. I just randomly checked it because I don't actually use that email. And I saw loads of subscriber emails, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And I went to the channel, and I'd had, I don't know how many subscribers, it gone to like 50. But I'd got about 1,000 views, and I was like, wow, okay. That's interesting. Since then I've kind of done a bit of digging into why that happened, and I've got my theory in terms of Josh Ravel, whose channel blew up just before mine. He did a Rich Energy related video that he posted on the 26th. For me, it's too much of a coincidence that his blew up at that time, mine blew up on the same day. So very lucky in that part. And then I managed to follow it up with my prediction videos, which have done incredibly well. Driver ones have almost hit 300,000 now, which is ridiculous. So I just it was a combination, I suppose, of I knew my content was good, but also like massive stroke of luck, like in terms of just hitting the algorithm and getting that to push my video out, because like we all know, like no one really knows what goes on at YouTube. We're all kind of going a bit blind, but But yeah, that's pretty much the story, to be honest, lads. That's the.
So if that one video didn't blow up, if that didn't kind of hit 1,000 views and things like that, what direction could you have seen this channel go into? I mean, because it sounded like, of course, as you said there, your love for motorsport was definitely there, and actually one of the things that you said in the first question, which was that you had nobody to talk to. I guess this was kind of a way to talk to people about motorsport. But if that didn't happen, if that Rich Energy video didn't do well, where would the direction of the channel go, do you think? I mean, would you have stuck with it, or do you think you'd have ventured out into something else? Because as you said there, you know, your work and your graphic design channel was kind of the main way to go, and this was just kind of a side hobby thing. Where would this channel have gone to, do you think, or like in a different direction?
I've got absolutely no doubt in my mind that the channel would have just died. It wouldn't have gone any further. Absolutely no way. Not with like, again, and I'm confident again. If I'd have put all that time into my design channel, I'm confident I would have got that to grow. I can't even begin to imagine it had been to the extent that my F1 channel has, but I'm confident I would have got that to a place. But definitely, like, my F1 channel would have definitely died, and I would have, you know, I would have remained just an anonymous voice on Twitter moaning and watching the races. You know
like
what I mean?
Like many.
Yeah. So what was it like working with the W2 F1 guys and girls, obviously? Because I mean, that's like one of the pinnacles of the Formula One, our side of Formula One, until you get to the official Formula One. So what was it like to interview them? And who was the best out of the three that you've had on the channel?
Question,
if you can say.
I think so. That all just came about. I was, again, I think it obviously helped that I'd had a bit of a, you know, I built a bit of a subscriber base at the time when I kind of launched those videos. I think I was over 10,000 when I did the first one with Jess. And yeah, it was just kind of, I just asked. I just sent her a message, and I sent Tommy a message as well. Jess got back to me first and was like, yeah, sweet. And again, lockdown was lockdown a thing? Yeah, was it? I can't even remember, actually. I don't know if it was. Sure. It was. Yeah, I think it was. Because because I remember talking to her, and she just had her first week at Autosport, where she works now. And we were talking about how, like, it's weird that she's just started and she can't go into the office and see everyone, etc., etc. So it just came from that, and and then obviously Tommy afterwards, and then Matty. Obviously it was a fascinating chat, because obviously, as you guys, like, I've been a fan of theirs for a long time, and have consumed their content for a long time as well. And it was just, I felt that it was really kind of, you had three quite kind of distinct stories there as well, and distinct personalities, because they are all quite different as well in terms of as people. And part of the challenge, I'm sure you guys will come across it as you guys interview more and more people, is that some people have got, everyone's got different energies, everyone's got different levels of, like, I can just waffle on forever, you know what I mean? So it's but yeah, they were all amazing. Like, obviously, it's massively grateful for them to, you know, jumping on, because again, that's helped kind of legitimize what I was doing with that as well, which is great. So that's obviously helped me get more guests on down the line. In terms of who was the best, that's a tricky one, because they were. I don't want to burn any bridges. You know what I mean?
I was going to avoid questions like that and asking who was the best guy you've interviewed so far, the best person you've interviewed. I was like, I'm staying away from that.
I think Jess was like super. Jess was probably the most. Jess was probably the easiest to chat to. She was kind of. You can tell she kind of, like, they've just started a podcast over on Autosport as well, and she's like super, you know, articulate and good at kind of speaking, and she was like, she was super easy to talk to. Tommy was like fascinating to find out, like, the details of how that all started, and I tried to kind of go in a bit deeper in terms of finding out where that, like, you know, because he started it as a blog on his own in like 2010, and just as a fan, and how that all came about. That was crazy. And obviously Matty with his old channel, and, you know, the presenter roles, and now he's doing like F1 esports and all that kind of doors. So they were all very good in their own way. I'll answer it like that.
I mean, everyone's got like a different story, haven't they? Which is so fascinating. I mean, when you know, out of everyone, you know, we've interviewed, the questions, if you are like a regular listener, the questions are roughly similar in terms of what we're trying to get, you know, ask the guest. But everyone comes up with a different kind of story, and as well, it's like a good starting point of, and then to get the ball rolling on something as well, and like that's why I love, like, you know, the joy of interviewing people as well, because you know, even if like I interview somebody that I don't really watch on YouTube, or I don't know much about, it's a case of, well, it's not what we want to know, it's what the guys on the on the other end of the screen want to know, and it's always good researching that person, and you become interested, and then like you want to know more as well, and that's when you get asking questions and end up asking questions that maybe people watching this who want to know, and eventually getting their answers through your questions. Just kind of like the last thing as well, like on this as well, I'm gonna come in with a question. What kind of advice would you want to give somebody who is, let's say, starting a YouTube channel, who is maybe Formula 1 based, football based, or anything for that matter? What kind of advice would you want to give somebody?
I think it's again, what I credit to my kind of success is differentiating from what exists currently as much as you can. So there's not many, and you guys are one of quite few channels on F1 who actually put your own faces to what you do. I think that
what a mistake that was.
No, quite the opposite. That's what I mean.
Is that why we haven't done too well? Is that why we're still stuck on this number?
I believe them too.
People engage a lot more when they can actually not only hear but see the person, and I just feel that's so powerful when you can be so much more evocative and I don't know, there's more of a connection there. But first and foremost, I was having a chat with Aldous about this actually as well. Like, audio is so important, and like quality. It's 2020, and people aren't prepared. People watching aren't prepared to sit through 480 pixel. Talking through a synthesizer. Like, people aren't prepared to tolerate that because there's so much content out there that is good enough quality, and it doesn't. You don't have to spend an absolute fortune, but if you just invest a little bit of money, prioritize getting a decent little mic, so that you can great audio. Image quality. I mean, most people's like the latest generation of iPhones, quality cameras on them. Like the camera, I'm big into my phones, and like the camera technology has stepped up massively in the last kind of 5 years on mobile devices. So again, just use that. Have a little microphone, record that audio independently. Not gonna invest 40, 50 quid maybe in some audio, and then just be yourself. Like, that's all I've done. I'm not putting on any kind of front. There's no funny voice. There's no trying to copy anyone else. Oh. No, this is my real voice, believe it or not.
Oh, is it? I was waiting for the voice change. I was like, come on, no, this is still a joke. Come on, change it down.
I'm actually a Geordie.
What a shock to the system that would be.
Imagine. But yeah, I just think just be yourself. Don't be I put my opinion out there. You're always going to get flack whatever you do. If you're putting yourself on the internet, you're going to get stick regardless. So you might as well just do what you feel comfortable doing. Talk about things you want to talk about, and you have to have that passion. You have to have that drive. You have to enjoy what it is. Otherwise, it will come across so much on the screen. It will come across so much to the people watching, and you're not gonna put the time and effort in, because it does take a long time. Again, my channel did blow up very quickly, but I've been making videos for years and got nothing in return. But I kept doing it because I love doing it and I enjoyed it, and That's the best thing. That's honestly the best bit of advice. I know that sounds a bit cliche, but you've got to love it and invest in a bit of audio.
Yeah,
job done.
It is great advice.
Yeah, it is true. And anybody who's listening, just write that down if you want to start a YouTube channel. If in your early days you don't know what to do, there you go. Tommo, it just helps you out, no problem. So next question, really, next topic is kind of away from YouTube, away from watching Formula 1, even though there is nothing to watch at the moment, which is a bit of a shame, of course, with what's going on. And again, it's a kind of not really a pointless question, but it's not really relatable now to what it would have been if this pandemic wasn't going on. So really, it's what do you do in your spare time when you're not doing YouTube, when you're not watching Formula 1 when it was on? What stuff do you get up to? Do you watch anything on Netflix, Amazon, or do you jigsaw puzzles, or I don't know. What do you do? Knitting or something? Knitting, bird watching, anything. What do you do? So what do you do in your spare time, really, away from YouTube and following Formula 1?
Jigsaws are my worst nightmare. I literally cannot fathom the appeal. I used to, when I was younger, I used to do a lot of sport. I used to play a lot of football. I used to do a lot of badminton as well back in the day. But in terms of nowadays, again, it's obviously, the realities of adult life and having bills to pay. I've got my little dog, Minton, that keeps me busy as well.
Minton, yeah.
Little Minton, bless him, he's having Kip in his bedroom with his mum.
It's a hard work being a dog, isn't it?
It is. But yeah, in terms of like outside of Formula One, definitely my passion outside of Formula One is football for sure. And I love a bit of golf as well, actually. I need to get down to a range. I haven't been for a long time. But about 25... I hit about 25. Like I'm not bad little golfer. Yeah. Enjoy the game. Nice, relaxing kind of escape on a good day. But yeah, football and golf are my two. Like I'm very much sport oriented and driven, and obviously because my typically like most of my day job has been doing design and photography. I probably don't do as much of that now as I did before that was my job, if you know what I mean, because again you've got to have a bit of balance. But I'd love to do a bit, I don't know, F1 pitch and putt or something. It'd be good fun.
So in terms of West Ham, apart from them obviously supporting football, what are your other allegiances like? What other teams do you support? And maybe not diehard, even just like who do you follow on the TV, and who's your favourite golfer, for example?
All right, that's a good question. So I think other football teams, so Dagenham and Redbridge, who are in the National League now?
National League.
Old Conference, yeah. So they were like my local team growing up. I went to the playoff final where we beat Rotherham 3-2 back in, I don't know when that was. Chuckle Brothers were there as well, because they're Rotherham fans.
I've met one
slapped them up. It was a good day. I love Dagenham. I used to go there a lot when I was younger because it's like super cheap in it. So, and obviously West Ham's the bit more spenny. And then I've got a few allegiances because I've been to a few. Actually, one of the, I think it's listed as the oldest video on my other channel is me at the San Siro. I watched AC Milan versus Chievo Verona, which is a good game, 3-2. But actually, my Italian club is Fiorentina, not AC, because I love Florence, and they've got banging shirts from the Battistuta days. The Nintendo one, beauty.
If you picked a team from every single country, every single league to do, I think everyone does that. I think everyone picks at least one team from Germany, France, and all that.
Whenever I visit a country, I always pick a team. So, like America, I went to Chicago in 2017 and did the marathon. So Chicago Fire is my MLS team. Okay. I need them to step up their shirt game because they're a bit weak at the moment. And then like in Australia, because I've been to Australia a few times because I've got family over there. They're Melbourne Victory fans. Yeah. So that would be my. It was great actually. I went over there last night with my cousin. My cousin is like in his 40s. He lives the ultimate like bachelor lifestyle. Honestly, it's like his place is incredible. And we were just up till like late watching West Ham in Australia lose, which was but we got absolutely off our nuts, so it's fine.
It's a common theme.
But yeah, that's about it really in terms of my sporting affiliations. Oh, actually, in terms of your favourite golfer, I don't know. Ian Poulter's got a lot of personality in it, which I like. I'm always drawn to personalities, like in any sport. I think, like honestly, but I'm not one to just root for the top, like whoever's the best. It's just who would I most like to have a drink with? And I think Ian kind of ticks that box.
Well, I've got to say, Ian Poulter now, if you didn't like him beforehand, or if you did, you must like him even more now, obviously, with all of the virtual racing and the not the Grand Prix. I love that when all the other different sportsmen that aren't Formula 1 drivers are doing that, but yeah, definitely. So definitely just football.
I'm pleased you brought that up, actually, Lyle, because Tommo is a big fan of Alex Albon.
Oh, right, okay.
And he won at the weekend.
So is it... So
I'd imagine it'd be bouncing after that.
So we've just prodded at your likes and you what teams you support. And one thing that we've never actually discussed is who your team is in Formula 1. So who is your team in Formula 1? Is it Red Bull for Alex or Who would you choose?
So if I had to, I don't have any overwhelming pull towards any particular team. I would say if I had to pick a team, it'd probably be McLaren.
Okay.
Just because of the transformation they're kind of going through, and they're a bit of a. I would never pick like a top 3 team. I don't know. That's just not in my kind of to follow whoever's doing bits at the top.
Yeah.
It's never been my draw. I like seeing their progression, and again, like as much as Alex is my favourite driver, that kind of camaraderie that Lando and Carlos have it's like you can't not be appealed by that. So yeah, I would say McLaren if I had to pick a team for sure.
It's a good team, definitely.
Although Mercedes have the best merchandise, like McLaren need to step up their merch game, because like I love the Merc hats, but I'm not going to get one because I'm not a fan of Mercedes. I can't be buying. I don't know if I'll ever buy a merchandise because I just can't. I don't know if it's a team I'm not feeling love for. I just can't. I can't wear their stuff.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's very similar to football, I guess. You know, you wouldn't go and buy a Tottenham Hotspur shirt.
Exactly.
You wouldn't buy that
because they're in direct like competition. So I can't be buying like another Premier League team's shirt, for example. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
But if it's if it's like a different league, if it's like La Liga or whatever, yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's like buying a Formula 2 shirt.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'd happily do that.
So moving on to the next question, which is the question is your dream race. But firstly, we've got to kind of get one thing out of the way with it, which is races that you have been to. So have you attended any Formula 1 races? And if so, what were they like? What was your experience there?
So I've just been to Silverstone. I went to Silverstone last year with my best mate Kerry. Great day, good fun. It was obviously there was incidents galore. We were sat. Don't get me on our bloody corner names, but we were sat. You know where Lewis and Valtteri were battling, and it was.
Brooklands.
Yeah. So we were like on the tail end, so opposite the old pit straight. We were pretty much sat.
National pit straight, and, like that kind of way.
It was a great little spot. Obviously, great day. Well, that's the thing. I think like. Going to races, it feels like a festival. It's a proper like festival atmosphere.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's 4 days of just pure like motorsport and general drinking and excitability. And I worked at a campsite. I don't know if you know that, but now I know how much it just is a big booze fest. At the end of the day, it's get motorsport out of it. It's just a big booze fest.
Absolutely, and that's the like, I've been to Glastonbury a few times. Like I do enjoy festivals, so that was a nice, because I wasn't expecting it to be as festivally as it was.
Yeah.
So that was good. I was also down. I moved around when Jack Aitken pulled that filthy move on Louis Delatraz.
Yeah.
I was right on that corner for that as well, so that was good fun.
Oh, good.
Perfect corner.
Yeah, I was right place, right time. So for that I actually walked around. So we were kind of on the inside of the corner, so where Jack actually overtook him. It was banging. Great day. Would thoroughly recommend. Absolute cost a fortune. Everyone goes on about how expensive Silverstone is, but to be fair, it was worth it. And of course I want to go to more races. Of course, but yeah, that's actually the only one I've ever been to, because again, like when I was younger, my parents aren't going to, they weren't interested. None of my mates were interested. So I was just like, well, I'm just going to sit at home and watch it on telly and play my video games like a little sadder.
It's not sad. Not sad at all. Not sad at all. So you've been to Silverstone. I mean, that's an incredible one to go to for sure. So what would be your dream race to go to? And let's split it into 2 categories. I mean, of course, the world's your oyster, you can go anywhere. But what would be your dream race that is a possibility? So, for example, Spa or Monza. And what would be a race that would be, I mean, still possible, not impossible, but it would take a lot of man hours and money to get there. For example, Singapore or Japan.
So I think closer to home would be, and so I don't actually massively rate Monza as a track. Shock horror, but in terms of the atmosphere, it's second to none. So it would be a way up between Monza and Spa, of course. Like Spa's got that proper like indie vibe to it as well, from what I've heard in terms of people who've gone. Like it's, you know, it's not fancy. It's like a more like chilled out Silverstone. And I think I'd go Spa, but Monza would be right up there as well. And then in terms of more far reaching, Suzuka, 100%. Just easy. I adore that track. I'm always like Tokyo's top of my list of places to go in the world. So yeah, 100%. I would Suzuka via Tokyo for sure.
Yeah, you like Japan. I mean, I think you said in one of your videos that you're a big fan of Japanese cars as well. So.
Oof. Super GT. I mean, that series in terms of like that's my favourite kind of touring car, if you can call it that series, because they're all kind of like they raced alongside DTM, didn't they, a bit last year as well. Just visually, I mean, I think when I very first got into design, when I was young, was back in the old Forza Motorsport 2 and 3 days with the livery editor, and I used to spend hours and hours. I would because you couldn't colour code the logos. Like, say you got a Sparco logo, and it'd have the blue back and the white text. I would recreate the like using shapes to build out the logo so that I could have it my own colour. Like, when you go really detailed into the livery editor, I'd spend so much time on that. And that was actually one of my probably my first furore into design as a kid. I should have really paid more attention to that, otherwise I wouldn't have wasted as much time as I did not doing design because I absolutely love that. But yeah, in terms of like that style of car, like, oh mate, like just the absolute decal, just splash all over them. Like they just look sick, man. I absolutely love JDM. Like, I'm massively into that kind of that scene. Not like I've got a Fiesta, mate. I haven't got anything that's remotely indulgent in that, but I'd love to one day for sure.
I had you down, right? Talk about this for like, you know, first impressions. When I first seen your video and I seen your face, for some reason, right, I went BMW 1 Series, white. Seriously, I went he drives a BMW. I don't know why.
Twat, basically.
First, maybe, I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But yeah,
that's what he does out with John. He guesses your cars.
BMW.
He's got a good eye for cars and people as well.
Yeah, just judge.
I've driven a 3 Series once, and I didn't particularly like it, to be honest. So yeah.
Like, no,
not a Beamer. No, not. I drove one on a skid pan, and it was. I mean, maybe that's why.
Probably most likely that, because you don't do that on normal roads.
Brilliant, lovely. So obviously YouTube as well, like you said, you know, your channel's just growing, like more or less, like just done really, really well in the past, you know, month or so as well. And at the start of the year as well, it's been a brilliant year for you so far. And obviously, you know, growth is still going well. You know, you've got some really good videos as well coming out, and obviously out at the moment as well. So yeah, awesome. So what is like your kind of career goal? In a sense, like, is it YouTube? Do you want to like expand and do something like different along the same lines as YouTube, like maybe go into media or punditry or something like that, or maybe continue like graphic designs, or maybe put 2 and 2 together perhaps, and just, I don't know, like, I know you redesigned the AlphaTauri livery, which I know you're a big fan of, and several you know, some other liveries as well. So obviously you in that sense you are putting like, you know, 2 and 2. So so like, what's like your ultimate goal in your career that you want to do?
So for me, I've kind of got to the stage. So I went freelance at the beginning of last year, and for me that was my first step towards being totally kind of financially independent. So obviously with freelance you still have clients, right? So you still got people to answer to, you're still doing work for them and you're getting paid, which is great. Obviously the beauty with YouTube is that you can create what you want, you can do it whenever you like, and you don't have a boss as such. Obviously everyone watching is in a way, you know, because they're the ones who determine whether you're successful or not. But in terms of having that kind of like financial independence, that is my only goal. That's my only goal, and YouTube could potentially make that a reality. So for sure, my focus is very much on that at the moment. So obviously now I'm still working freelance, which is bringing me in money, and then I'm putting the rest of my time into building my channel. And if I can carry on building that, once I can get to a stage that I can afford to do that full time, then again I can create more content. It'll grow quicker, hopefully, in theory. But the idea ultimately is just to have, and that might not be, maybe that's growing this channel and then using that growth and that to then invest my time in something else that then becomes I think it'd be a mistake to put all my eggs in one basket. And the good thing for me is that because I've worked for a number of years now in design, I can get freelance work, relatively stress-free, which will always be there to kind of pay the bills when I need it. But then I can also invest time time in my channel. But obviously, again, the more time I put into that, the closer I can get it to a place where I can make it my full-time thing. That's my only goal. That's literally it. And again, if it can be an F1, then that's better than I could have possibly imagined, because that's always been my goal, even way before I started this channel. And again, I thought that would be starting my own brands, like having a product, the good thing with a product is that, again, you can produce what you like and then people buy it or they don't. A service, again, the kind of service where you create something and then people buy it or they don't. You're not like a one-to-one thing, because I don't want that ag, man. And I'm 27 now, and I want to build something that supports me, supports my family, and supports everything I want to do. But I just don't want a boss, basically. That's the long and the short of it.
Yeah, you just don't want to be like told what to do, essentially. So I take it you're a guy that doesn't like being told what to do. You're just like, no, I want to do it when I want to do it.
You know what? I would say that I'm like everywhere I've worked, I've been like complimented on like my listening and how I take people's like thoughts on board and all that. It's not that I don't. It's just that I don't. I know the skills that I do have, and I know now. I've been working how I can like market those skills and what you can do, because there's infinite ways of making money. Like the ways that like the generation before us are gonna be doing jobs that don't even exist yet. Like there's so many different ways of doing your thing and getting your own little position where if you can earn £100 a day, you're sweet. Like there's so many different ways of going about that, and I know that I would be a lot happier like just do my own thing, like. And that hopefully this YouTube opportunity, like it's a massive opportunity, and guys like you, I'm incredibly like grateful, because I know that like I've not been doing this for that long, and there's guys like you, there's tons of channels out there. I always talk about Mike F1 Fanatics, like his passion, his drive, like, and I've got all these subscribers, and I'm just like, what the hell, man? Like, there's so many more people out there who've tried and tried and tried. And again, I also, I have tried for a long time, and I've been knocking on that door for a while in terms of content creation, and it has taken a while. But also, trust me, like, and for you guys as well, like, don't lose hope, don't lose motivation, because if you keep at it and you just keep, gradually increasing the quality of the stuff, and again, you got like everyone's going to get, the more you do it, the better you'll get at doing it. Like with these interviews as well, like. Everything's going to improve the more you just keep at it, and as long as you love it, then you will get there. And I just want to make the most of this opportunity, because opportunities like this don't come around all the time.
No, you're right there. You are right there. That turned into a bit of a lecture there. That was good. That's
what I do.
No, that was some sound advice. And obviously, you touched on Mike as well. He's just as passionate as anybody else, and absolutely just and what you said earlier about advice as well. I think you've got to be passionate about something. You might enjoy YouTube. You might be like, I'm good at editing. I'm good at graphics. I'm good at whatever. But you've got to really put that passion to use, in the sense of, I can make the screen do all these things, but I don't really have anything to like or to put that to use, if you know what I mean. It's like I don't like football, I don't like racing, I don't like any other sport, like what to do. So you've got to have that love for that said topic. Like if we didn't like F1 and we were just oh hi guys, and Lewis Hamilton raced today, and that's the attitude you're going to come across, and then your viewers are going to be like, I'm not giving this guy any hope. But you've got to be like passionate and got to have it in there. And obviously, you know who's got passion. You know who's got passion, like yourself and other people. Mike as well, like you said as well. Mike's just really, really passionate. Shame, just a shame he's an Arsenal fan, I suppose. Shout out to Mike.
That is a shame. I didn't know that actually.
He is an Arsenal fan. Oh,
you didn't know that? I thought that would be the first thing you'd talk about.
Oh, I didn't know that. I've just
have a little bit of a London derby there.
Sorry, Mike. I should have said Tottenham. Oh,
that's worse. That is. Worse.
It is.
I don't know. I mean, what's worse, Arsenal or Tottenham?
Well, if I said Tottenham,
Tottenham,
Mike would have been like, no, what? That's like him telling someone, the F1 debate show boys are Sunderland fans.
Oh, yeah.
What?
No, I'm in for Tommo. It's not really. It doesn't really, matter to him. Which is worse? So just last thing on that, Arsenal or Tottenham for you, Tom. What's worse? What's like the worst team?
Actually, to be fair, so Arsenal fans really rub me up the wrong way, and like on social media and that, I get really wound up by how like vocal and entitled a lot of them can be. But as a West Ham fan, I've got to say Tottenham, because they're like definitely are like. Yeah, we don't get along, and like that. I guess kind of, for most, yes, Tottenham have got on to get Champions League finals and massively outperform us, and that's unquestionable. But they were our closest rival for a significant period of time. There's always been proper beef there. So yes, fuck Spurs.
Yeah. Well, we're not going to say anything.
There's the title for this video.
Because London Club can't say anything. But anyway, moving on to the next topic, which is, again, we love it. It's fan questions, which, of course, name is on the tin there, fan questions from our fans. And you got quite a lot, Tom, of course. But we've condensed them to 2 each. So I'm going to kick it off. And the first one is from Moto Maker.
Oh, of course it is.
Obviously, an interviewee of ours a few episodes ago. And his question is quite a shorter one, but I'm hoping that you can elaborate on that. He says, "Is it true that the only way is Essex?"
Oh, for God's sake! Me and John have a good relationship, actually. You can get good banter, but he's always giving me stick.
I've seen you on Twitter as well, like you back and forth banter. I'm like, these two, man.
So right, let's just I do currently live in Essex, but I'm not actually from Essex technically.
Okay.
I'm from the London Borough of Havering, which used to be Essex, but then became part of Greater London from 1965. And the reason I know that is because I have to explain this to people all the fucking time. Everyone's like, "Oh, you're from Essex." I hate the show. I hate Geordie Shore.
See from London.
I hate Geordie Shore. So I hate.
Same. We do as well.
I hate your version just as much
well.
as mine. And but the question is, the only way Essex. The only way is to like and subscribe to the TommoF1 YouTube channel. So.
There we go.
The best answer.
That is a good answer.
That is the best answer.
That is a good answer.
And for the record, we hate Geordie Shore and all the other bloody reality shows out there, man. What are they? Just a quick note as well. On Essex, your boy Joey, who's in the Celebrity SAS channel show on Channel 4, he's doing bits. He's one of my favourite in that. Of course, probably finished by now when this episode comes out, but big fan of that. And also, in terms of London, Phil Mitchell from EastEnders, got to meet him. So just rambling off a few London things. Oh, that was an amazing day, that one, when I got to meet Phil Mitchell.
Who'd have thought?
From East London, from your neck of the woods. I mean, your neck of the woods. Are you an EastEnders fan?
I am not an EastEnders fan, no, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's so Joey Essex. That's a character, right? That's not actually him.
Yeah.
Like he's so fake. It's like painful. But
well, that's why. I mean, like I remember when he was in I'm a Celebrity a few years ago, and when he was in that, he was the character. You could tell he was, and that's why he was unliked. He was playing on this dumb person, and then as I say, in this SAS channel, when he couldn't play his persona, he had to be a real person. He actually comes across quite nice and intelligent, and of course in that program when you had to show your toughness, he was quite tough, but yeah, it doesn't look very appealing, and we hate Geordie Shore as well, as much as you and much as everyone else. I don't think anyone actually does like Geordie Shore out there. I mean,
just gives us a bad
find
name.
Someone who does like Geordie Shore.
All they do up there is party and drink, and there's us two sitting here going, no, we make YouTube videos on
That's
the weekend.
what I mean. It's done exactly the same to me. That's what Anywhere's Essex did to me. So again, it's different parts of the country, but there's a lot of similarities here.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities as well. So if I ever go down south, I know where to go because I know where I'll fit in there. So the next question actually comes from F1 Fanatics. Since we were talking about him as well just before, as we all know, the big Tottenham fan. He says West Ham is another big love outside of F1, but would he like? Sorry, I'll read that again. Saying you as in he. Who would he like to see have a cross-sport sit-down and sports sit-down chat to talk about their sports and in the way their team works? Like, who would you choose from? Like, would you like one guy from West Ham who you love and look up to, and one guy from F1 that you like and look up to maybe sit down and just talk about their representative sports and teams?
That was painful to listen to.
It was painful to listen to. It was a
painful
dodgy worded question, but I got there in the end.
We got there.
We did.
Oh, see, that's a tricky one because I think my favourite West Ham player of all time has to be Paolo Di Canio, but he is a little bit, he's a bit Nazi-ish, isn't he? His views are a bit dodgy. So I think I might pass on that opportunity if I'm honest. In terms of I think Trevor Brookin's an absolute legend of the club, and so I think he'd be a very fascinating guy to have a conversation with. I think Trev, and then would I go? No, I wouldn't go. Who would I go for? Actually, I think Trevor Brookin and Johnny Herbert, Collier O, born and bred, just like me. I think that would be a cracking little conversation because they're both their characters are quite similar. They're quite jovial, quite go-lucky. So yeah, I'm going Trevor Brookin and Johnny Herbert.
Good one. I'm pretty sure the next question, Lyle, you won't have any trouble reading it like I did with that one.
No. But you never know. Right, so the next one comes in from Jack Chambers, and he says, meal deal, go to... that's go to meal deal. That's right, good. So that was a joke. If anyone, you didn't laugh. Come on, guys, let's go on. That was a joke. That was awesome. So no, what is your go-to meal deal?
This is easy because I get meal deal. Well, when I used to go into work, when we were all allowed outside, I used to get meal deals pretty much every day. So I get the feta and sun-dried tomato pasta from Tesco with a pack of McCoy's and a green machine smoothie. Cheese and onion McCoy's, or the Tyrrell. I'll sometimes mix it up with the Tyrrell's vegetable crisps as well. I'm a vegetarian. I don't know if I've told anyone this actually online.
Oh yeah.
So
didn't know that. Reveal.
I'm a vegetable. So that's my go-to.
Wow. Well, there we go. Just nice and simple. It was a massive debate when we talked about it, but and obviously the main thing is for a meal deal is you've got to capitalise on the £3. You can't buy something that's £2 overall. You've got to spend the money, and I think the smoothie, for example, is one of those things where it costs about £3 to buy outright.
And the McCoy's as well, because it's a huge pack. It's like 50 grams. So again, I'm getting good value. Like trust me, that's why I get that. I'm a stickler for a savings. I'm a bit.
If you walk away with £5 worth of merchandise of products for £3 of a meal deal, it's worth it for sure. But no, amazing choices.
You'll just say, Lala, like your little Tesco's, just calculating how much everything's worth and go, right, I'm gonna go for these three, and off he goes.
I said that my meal deal was Tesco, so I thought as soon as you said Tesco, I was like, amazing choice in that.
You're my kind of guy.
But yes, I do calculate. I do stand there and I do calculation.
Big up to all the Morrisons people listening. I'm with you. 2 against 1. So the last question comes in from Blue Flag Alpha. Sticking on the subject of food, he just basically asks, "What's your favourite food?"
What's my favourite food? It's hard to look past the potato, isn't it? It's such a versatile food stuff, but particularly roast potatoes, like in a Sunday roast, a proper goose fat, yes, absolutely. Goose fat, roast potato, number one, easy.
That is a good one. Oh, I'm hungry thinking about it.
Salivating at the prospect.
Oh, that's nice. So moving on then to the next part, which is the quickfire questions. One of my favourite segments. Shout out to Lyle who came up with this. Came up with this idea at the very first. Well, when we were thinking about what to do. What to add new really. So basically, you've got a multiple choice of 2 options, and you've got to really pick one. The first one that comes to your mind. Really, that's pretty much that really. So I've got a selection of this or that. So yeah, are you ready, Tommo?
I am ready.
He is ready. Right, let's go. Hamilton or Vettel?
Hamilton.
Spa or Suzuka?
Suzuka.
Red Bull or Rich Energy?
Rich Energy for the culture.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Hard or soft?
Soft.
Prost or Senna?
Prost.
Bobby Moore or Alex Albon?
Bobby Moore.
I was hoping he would say that.
Gotta be.
Xbox or PlayStation?
PlayStation.
60 seconds or a minute?
60 seconds.
Home or away?
Away, always.
Finally, red sauce or brown sauce?
Red sauce.
Red sauce. He's a red sauce kind of guy. No mayonnaise, like Jonty said.
Nah.
Oh, that was a
red sauce, brown sauce, mayonnaise.
Nah,
okay.
No. Although, to be fair, what I do think needs to be more accepted down south is chips and gravy, because I love chips and gravy.
It's a
definitely.
It's a worship up
It's
here.
an institution, but it's not like, really. It doesn't really get love down here, and it's like the local chippy doesn't even offer gravy on the menu. I'm like, what's going on?
Well,
just,
I'm not
just
moving
on the
down
topic,
Essex for that reason.
Just on the topic of gravy, I remember when we went when I was down at university and we had a sports Christmas meal, and all of the all the Southerners on the team put a little bit of gravy on the carvery food, and all the Northerners, and there's only a few of us, put loads of gravy on. I think gravy
it's got to be
just on
swimming in
its own
gravy.
is just a it needs.
I want to say my peas drowning.
For sure. Anyway, but gravy on anything, Jordan. Gravy on anything. So, the next thing, or the last thing even, I mean, it's been an incredible interview up to now, Tom. So, the last thing we get everyone to answer or fill in is the F1 Dream Team. So, what I need from you to fill in your team, TommoF1 GP, of course you can change the name, is 2 drivers off past or present in Formula 1, a team car. So, for example, you was talking about I think it's the MP414, I think it is the 2000 McLaren, as an example. A team principal and your team name. So let's start off with your 2 drivers.
Okay, so obviously I've got to go with Alex Albon for number 1, just because right now he's my boy. And then in terms of going back to a driver, I'm gonna go with Mika Hakkinen, because again, in terms of that car, he's the driver at the helm of that car when I think of it in my mind. So I'm going to go for Mika and Alex. And then in terms of the car, so in terms of the early 90s F1, so like the 91, even like 1990, that kind of car design, that like the actual physical aesthetic of the car for me is the best looking of all time. So I'm going to go for the 1990 Lotus, the yellow one with the camel branding, because I think that's just an absolute beautiful car. Team principal, Ross Brawn. He's just an absolute don. And then what were the other elements?
Just your team name.
Just the team name. I'm going to go with Minton Grand Prix.
Oh, little shout out to Minton there.
Oh, that's nice.
It's my child.
That is nice. That is nice. I like it how you went on a different direction with the car, because a lot of people kind of think, or even the drivers that matter, because they always think of the best, like, or maybe they're kind of idle drivers, but they always say like the Ferrari F2004, the MP44, and you just went 1990 Camel Lotus because it's beautiful, and that's what I like. That's what I like. But anyways, Tom
and Alex Albon as well, giving him the shot in TommoF1's Minton team.
Little shout out to Minton there. Shout out to Minton. But anyways, Tommo, this is where we're going to wrap up the interview. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you today. Obviously, like I said at the start, it's you're on the other end of the mic for a change. Have you enjoyed it? We haven't scared you off, have we?
Absolutely, lads. No, it's been good. Really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me. And yeah, good to have a chat. Good to have a chat with like-minded people as well in the kind of community. So it's good, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you so much for coming on, taking your time out to come and talk to us today. And of course, you guys listening, I'd imagine there's a few of your guys coming over to listen, so I'm hoping we've done as much as we can to get to know Tommo a little bit more. And of course, yeah, just leave your opinions about what Tommo said anything in this episode in the comment section below. Obviously, links to his channel and his Twitter and everything will be in the description below. And of course, we've got more guests coming up as well as we try and fight on this lockdown, if there is still a lockdown when this goes out, which I'm hoping there's not, but you never know with the current situation. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening. Watch what you're doing, stay safe as always, and until next time, we'll see you later.
See you later, guys.